Courtrooms are meant to be solemn places where the law is upheld, justice is served, and everyone involved is expected to conduct themselves with dignity and respect. Defendants have, however, crossed the line on multiple occasions, exhibiting appalling degrees of disrespect that disturb the proceedings, cast doubt on the court's authority, and cause additional suffering for victims and their families. Such actions seriously harm the defendants themselves as well as the larger goal of justice, in addition to undermining the dignity of the court system. The courtroom's function in society. The courtroom is a vital component of the legal system, serving as a forum for the settlement of cases and the pursuit of justice. It stands for the unbiased administration of justice, the defense of everyone's rights, and the administration of justice without regard to race. The expected decorum in courtrooms is not just customary. It is also vital to preserving the authority and respect that the legal system needs to operate properly. Respect is expected in the courtroom because it is believed that in order to maintain fair and just processes, all parties involved, judges, attorneys, juries, defendants, and spectators, must behave in a certain way. This regard extends to the victims, their families, and society at large in addition to the judge and the legal system. When defendants behave disrespectfully and over the line, they undermine these core values, which can have serious repercussions. The effect of disrespectful conduct, disruption of court cases. Disrupting legal procedures is one of the most direct effects of rude behavior in the courtroom. Strict rules of order govern courtroom operations to guarantee that cases are heard effectively and fairly. Disruptive behavior on the part of the defendant can cause delays, turmoil, and make it difficult for the jury and judge to concentrate on the matter at hand. Examples of this behavior include outbursts, mocking the court, and refusing to obey orders. For instance, T.J. Lane, a teenager found guilty of a school shooting in Chardon, Ohio, stunned the courtroom when he arrived for his sentencing in 2016 by showing up with a T-shirt with the word killer emblazoned on it. Throughout the hearing, he made lewd gestures and smirked, further insulting the court and the relatives of the victims. In addition to causing the relatives of the victims enormous grief, Lane's conduct interfered with the court's ability to keep decorum and order during a very delicate trial. Legal repercussions may also follow from such disturbances. Defendants may be held in contempt of court by judges, which carries further fines, jail term, or other consequences. When a defendant's actions result in a mistrial, the court may be forced to reopen the case, wasting more time and money while adding to the pain of the victims and their families. Undermining the court's authority. The judicial system cannot operate properly without respect for the court and its authority. Defendants who behave disrespectfully weaken the court's authority as well as the integrity of the legal system. The public's opinion of the legal system and its capacity to dispense justice properly may be severely damaged by this. Ted Bundy's trial in the late 1970s, in which he represented himself, is a well-known illustration of this. During the hearings, Bundy regularly smiled and cracked jokes, even when the gory details of his murders were being revealed. He had a smug and conceited manner. Bundy questioned the court's ability to hold him accountable by downplaying the gravity of the charges against him and conducting the trial like a show. Defendants run the danger of receiving heavier punishments when they subvert the court's authority. Judges will probably consider a defendant's actions during the trial when deciding on a suitable sentencing. A defendant may be subject to harsher punishments than they otherwise may have been if they demonstrate disdain for the court and the judicial system. Emotional trauma to victims and their families. The emotional trauma that rude behavior in the courtroom may inflict on victims and their families is among the most terrible outcomes. The courtroom can provide both comfort and further suffering for people who have lost a loved one or gone through a horrific situation. Defendants who act disrespectfully have the potential to worsen the grief already experienced by others by reopening old wounds. The victim's family gave impact statements at Michael Woodmansey's 2008 trial, and the defendant startled the courtroom by grinning and smiling. Woodmansey's actions were a callous and brutal demonstration that made the family's sorrow and rage worse. Families of the victims frequently view the courtroom as their only chance to see justice done. So when defendants behave disrespectfully or with no regret, it might leave them with the impression that justice has not been done to the fullest extent possible. This psychological damage is not exclusive to the legal system. High-profile trials are frequently covered by the media, and when defendants act disrespectfully, their deeds are publicized to a larger audience, further scarring the communities and families of the victims. When someone is already having a hard time dealing with their loss, A public act of contempt like this one can make them feel even more angry and powerless. Legal and personal repercussions for defendants. Defendants who act disrespectfully in court frequently have to deal with harsh legal and personal repercussions. Judges can use a variety of measures, such as finding defendants in contempt of court, lengthening their sentences, or applying extra sanctions to deal with this kind of behavior. Disrespectful behavior occasionally even results in the criminal being charged with further crimes. For instance, Penelope Soto, an 18-year-old charged with marijuana possession in Miami, Florida, gained notoriety in 2013 after she poked fun of the judge during her hearing. Judge Carlos Rodriguez first placed Soto's bond at $5,000. However, when she exited the courthouse and proceeded to act in a cavalier manner, he held her in contempt, raised her bond to $10,000, and sentenced her to 30 days in jail. Soto's actions not only resulted in more jail time for her, but they also demonstrated the dire and swift repercussions that can follow disrespecting the court. Defendants who act disrespectfully in court may face long-term personal repercussions in addition to legal ones. Their acts may be recorded in the public domain, which could harm their standing and future chances. A defendant's disrespectful actions in court can follow them for the rest of their lives, making it more difficult for them to get a job, create relationships, or reintegrate into society after completing their sentence in an age when information is readily available online. The courtroom's order and respect. The courtroom's order and respect are greatly aided by the presence of judges and attorneys. It is their duty to guarantee that the legal process is carried out equitably and that all parties follow the conduct expectations that are anticipated in a court of law. To maintain the integrity of the proceedings, judges and attorneys must act quickly and decisively when defendants cross the line. To deal with disrespectful behavior, judges have the power to give warnings, hold defendants in contempt, or apply other sanctions. In order to shield victims and their families from more suffering, they can also adopt measures like directing a disruptive defendant to leave the courtroom or permitting impact statements to be given in private. It is the duty of lawyers, especially defense lawyers, to advise their clients on proper conduct in the courtroom. They have to make sure that their clients know how important it is to treat the court with respect and what could happen if they don't. To safeguard the defendant's legal rights and preserve the decorum of the proceedings, defense lawyers may ask that their clients be taken out of the courtroom if their conduct becomes too disruptive. The judicial system's wider consequences. The problem of impolite conduct in court has wider consequences for the judicial system overall. It calls into question how the legal system can strike a compromise between the need to uphold courtroom decorum and order and the rights of defendants. It also draws attention to the difficulties judges and lawyers encounter when assisting defendants who might not be remorseful, suffer from mental illness, or behave in a way that deviates from accepted norms. In conclusion, it is important to recognize that acting disrespectfully in court can have a significant impact on victims, defendants, and the legal system as a whole. When offenders overstep the bounds, they cause more emotional distress to people who are already suffering, interfere with the court's authority, and disrupt the legal system. In response to these problems, the judicial system must uphold the integrity of the proceedings, preserve order, and guarantee that justice is administered in a fair and unbiased manner. The legal system must change along with society and come up with fresh strategies for dealing with disrespectful conduct in the courtroom. By doing this, we can protect the values of justice and guarantee that each and every person involved in the legal system receives the respect and decency they are due. Hit that subscribe button to watch more videos from our channel. See you in the next one.